Right, this is section 3-5. We are going to learn how to graph a line using intercepts. First thing I want you to do is put this important concept in your book about slope-intercept form. The x-intercept of a line is the x-coordinate of the point where the graph crosses the axis. Since any linear equation can be graphed using 2 points, you can use the x and the y-intercepts to graph an equation. Let's take a look at a little bit at what that might mean. Okay, example number 1. We're going to state the x and the y-intercepts of y equals 1.5x minus 9. Then use the intercepts to graph that equation. So in other words, we're going to find our x-intercepts like this, and our 2 intercepts like, say, here. With that line, we're going to find this intercept, and then we can draw the line, wherever those intercepts might end up being. So let's take a look at this. First, we need to find the y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept should be easy because it is this point right here. It's because it's in the y equals mx plus b format. So right here, b is our y-intercept. So we've got the y-intercept of -9, and then in order to find the x-intercept, we're going to let y equal 0, because that is the definition of the x-intercept. If we've got lines here, when we're going through here, when we find the x-intercept, the y value, the up or the down value, would be 0. So we can take our equation, which was y equals 1.5x minus 9, put 0 in for y. Then we could add 9 to both sides of the equation. I don't like the fact they don't show this here. And we end up with 9 equals 1.5x. At that point, of course, we divide both sides by 1.5, and we get x equals 6. Okay, so then our next step is going to be to take that and graph those 2 points. So we've got the point 6, 0, okay, which is right here, okay, our x-intercept. And we also had a y-intercept of -9. So we're going to put that at -9. And then once we've got that, all we have to do is take out our card and draw a nice straight line graphing the line. And then, of course, we should also label that line. Please press pause and do letters A and B. We've got another concept that we should put into our notes here. When an equation is written in the form ax plus by equals c, and a cannot or has to be greater than or equal to 0, and a, b, and c are integers, it is written in standard form. This particular form of a line, so let's say we had 4x plus 3y equals 15 as an example. That would be the standard form of a line. In this problem, we've got Malden Middle School wants to make $4,740 from yearbooks. Print yearbooks X costs $60, and digital yearbooks Y cost $15. This can be represented by the equation 60 times X for the print yearbooks plus 15 times Y for the digital yearbooks will give us our grand total of $4,740. So now let's take a look at this. It says to use the x and y intercepts to graph this equation. Okay, it asks us to use the x and y intercepts to graph this equation. To find the x-intercept, let y equal 0. So we put 0 in for y right here. So we have 60 times x plus 15 times 0 equals 4,740. Well, obviously this zeroes out, so we end up with 60x equals 4,740. Divide both sides by 60, and we get x equals 79. To find the y-intercept, all you have to do is put x equals 0 into the equation. So in this case, we're going to put a 0 here, and that is going to eliminate our x value. So we're going to have 15y equals 4,740. Divide both sides by 15, and we end up with y equals 316. We have x equals 79 and y equals 316, and of course we can then, at that point, graph that line on a coordinate plane. Okay, now it says to interpret those x and y intercepts. Well, the x-intercept is at 79, and the y-intercept is at 316. Okay, so the x-intercept is at 79, the y-intercept is at 316. This means that they can sell 79 print yearbooks, but if they sell 79, the value for y there would be 0. So they can sell 79 print yearbooks and 0 digital yearbooks. Or they could sell 316 digital yearbooks, but then they would be selling 0, right here, 0 paper yearbooks. Please press pause and do letter C. Okay, here's your solutions to 3-5 letter problems. In this problem, we're being asked to find the x and the y-intercept in order to graph this line. So first of all, we can immediately determine that the y-intercept is 5. So we're going to place a point here at 5. And then we need to set y equal to 0 and then solve for x. So here's our equation. Obviously, the first thing we're going to do is subtract 5 from both sides. And we get negative 5 equals 1 negative 1/3 x. So the first thing we're going to do next is multiply both sides by negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15, and we get 15 equals positive x. So we have an x-intercept of 15. So since this is 12 here, 16 here, this would be 14, and then halfway across would be to there. So the next thing we want to do is get out a straight edge and draw a nice straight line from this point to this point. And there is the graph of our line. Our two intercepts are 15 and 5. Right here is y equals 5, and right here is x-intercept of 15. Problem letter B, we have a similar situation. We have a y-intercept of 3, place a point at 3, and we get 0 equals negative 3 halves x plus 3. We're going to subtract 3 from both sides, and we have negative 3 equals negative 3 over 2x. Now we're going to multiply both sides by negative 2 over 3. So we're going to take negative 3 times negative 2 over 3. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6, divided by positive 3 is positive 2. So we have our x-intercept of 2, and now it is time to draw our line. And we want to start here and go through our intercept. Get this as accurate as possible. Okay, in problem letter C, we have Mr. Davies who's spending $230 on lunch for his class. The sandwiches are X, which are $6 each, and drinks are Y, cost $2, and we can represent it with this equation right here. We can represent that with the equation 6x plus 2y equals 230. So now we can find our intercepts by making either x or y a 0. So if we put 0 in for y, we will end up with the equation 6x equals 230. If we put it in for x, we will end up with the equation 2y equals 230. So we have 6x equals 230, and down here we have 2y equals 230. So if we divide both of these by 6, we get x equals 38 1/3. We're going to put it as 38.3 repeating. In this case, we can divide both sides by 2, and we get y equals 115. So when x equals 0, y equals 115. So x is 0, our y-intercept is 115, y-intercept is right there at 115. Our x-intercept is 38 1/3, so we get to 35. 38 1/3 is going to be right about here. So there's our 2 points, and the next thing we need to do is put a nice straight line on that. And the next thing we need to do is interpret those intercepts. So we can say that we could buy 115, that number is right here, 115 drinks, but if we do, we will get 0 sandwiches. Or we could say we can buy 38 sandwiches, because you're not going to be able to buy a third. 38 sandwiches, but in that case we would get 0 drinks. And the thing that is not stated by that is that you could look anywhere along here and say, for example, let's use this point here, we could buy 25 sandwiches, and in that case we would be able to afford 40 drinks. That's how that problem works. Please press pause and do guided practice.